All right. Good morning, my amazing people. Thank you for joining me and hanging in there and enjoying this book. Let's just jump right in. Page 92, chapter 14. Dead 12-year-olds. That's the name of the chapter. Ugh. Same day, Sunday, August 18th, 1935. The whole way to the Esther P. Marinoff School, I try to plan everything out. I'm going to take Annie to the wrong field so we won't run into Scout. I hate the idea of missing out on a pickup game, but this is my life we're talking about. I'm not sure what kind of pickup games they have in heaven. I don't think there are many dead baseball playing 12-year-olds up there. The more I think about this, the harder I work to wiggle the string off the cannoli box and worm my big hand inside. I've just managed to eat two when Annie rips the box out of my hand. "What's the matter with you, Moose?" she asks as we walk up the steep San Francisco street with cables rumbling underground and cable car bell clanking in the distance. That's like near Fort Mason and Fisherman's Wharf. We're almost to the Esther P. Marinoff now, which is good because my legs feel wobbly, like I just jumped 20 flight of stairs. We didn't have hills like this in Santa Monica. We didn't have mansions like this either. Up ahead is the familiar white house with large, well cared for garden of flowers. Orange flowers drape from a trellis and tiny pink-purple flowers the size of ladies' thumbnails spill over the side of a planter. It smells sweet like honeysuckle. A metal placard reads in elaborate cursive, "The Esther P. Marinoff School." I look around for roses. Just my luck. There are none. Esther P. Marinoff. Looky, you guys. This is it. Teresa runs around behind me and gives me a shove, headbutting me up the stairs from the massive door. Annie laughs as I ring the doorbell. It takes a while, but eventually the big door is opened by a small woman with hair the color of tarnished nickels and the velvet dress as thick as movie curtains. We're here to visit Natalie Flanagan, I tell her. "And you are?" Matthew Flanagan, her brother, and Teresa Madiman and Anne Bamini, her friends. "The Alcatraz kids." "I'm Sadie," she says. She must be my grandma's age, but there's something about her that seems kind of young. The graying hair and the wrinkled skin are a costume change, not the real person at all. We follow her inside. "I've heard a lot about you kids. Natalie talks about you all the—" "Yes, ma'am," I cut her off before I can stop myself. "I don't want to hear about Nat missing me while I've been home with Mom and Dad all to myself." Sadie blinks like she has dust in her eyes. "Well then, you must be anxious to see Natalie. You wait right here. I'll bring her up." Annie's watchful blue eyes take everything in. The room reminds me of Sadie, full of elegant things that are well worn. Chairs with old-fashioned carved legs, threadbare seats, brocade curtains faded in spots, but nothing about this place seems like gangsters. And Sadie sure doesn't look like the kind of woman who would mix it up with mobsters. How did Al Capone do it? How did he get Natalie into this school? Teresa bounces on the lumpy seat of her straight-back chair. She jumps up when she hears the sound of Natalie approaching. "She's here," Teresa cries, clapping her hands together. When Nat appears, she's wearing the yellow dress my mom and the convicts made for her. But the belt is gone and there are two extra buttons sewn on the front. For a second, Nat's clear green eyes flash past me, then flip down to the carton again. "Sun get up to today okay, Natalie?" Nat mutters. "Sun get up okay today, Natalie?" Natalie mutters to herself. Sadie's thick velvet dress sweeps past us. "Natalie, look at the person whom you're speaking to. And speak her proper pronouns, please." I don't like Sadie's tone. What gives her the right to talk to Natalie this way? "Natalie loves the sunrise. She gets up every morning," I explain. "When I get up, I always ask her if the sun got up okay." "She loves the sunrise in the garden, too, but she can speak more directly," Sadie says. 3-0. No hits, no runs, a fly ball, 10-base hit, a runner on third, Natalie mumbles, digging her chest into her chin. Digging her chest with her chin, sorry. Sadie cups her hand under Natalie's chin to prevent the digging. "No baseball talk." "What's the matter with baseball talk?" I ask. She's just repeating random phrases. We're working on the art of conversation. "Say what you mean." I am, Sadie prompts Natalie. Natalie tries to dig at her chest again with her chin, but Sadie won't let her chin dip down. Natalie looks quietly and fleetingly across the top of our heads. Moose, Teresa, Annie, hello, 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 hello. Hi, Natalie, we all say. You have new buttons, Teresa points to two mismatched buttons sewn on Natalie's dress. Natalie runs her hand over her new buttons carefully, tracing the outline of each one. Good day, new button, she whispers. Who are you addressing, Natalie? Sadie barks. When I have... Nat doesn't respond. Sadie motions for us to be silent. When I have a Sadie nice day, I get a new button, is what Natalie says. Good, Natalie. Nat rubs her hand over one of the sewn-on buttons. Maybe you'll get more buttons, says Annie. When you come home next weekend, maybe you'll have more. More buttons, Natalie says. I am what? Sadie says to her. Natalie lets it drop. Whatever she is right now, she isn't going to say it. What we're working on here, Moose, is keeping her engaged in part of the conversation. We can't let her float off into her own world. She doesn't float off into her own world with me, Teresa says. You're the neighbor girl, right, says Sadie? Do you want to play button checkers? She asks Natalie, laying her hand-drawn checkerboard. Natalie touches each button as Teresa sets it out. When she finishes, she starts again, following the same pattern of touching before. When she's done this time, she nods, and she and Teresa play. After Natalie has won 2 games, even with our coaching, Teresa is no match for her. She begins twisting the buttons on her dress. I am, Nat's voice says, with stiff, unnatural pauses. She drags her toes against the carpet and again and looks back and forth. I am what, says he. I am Natalie angry, says Natalie. She says she's angry, Teresa. I am angry, says Sadie, correcting her. I am angry, Natalie says. Yes, you surely are. Who are you angry with, Natalie? Angry at Mommy. Angry at Moose. What did I do, Nat? Nat doesn't answer. You made her say that, I tell Sadie before I can stop myself. I did nothing of the kind, says Sadie. Moose, Annie warns in a low voice. Why is she angry, I ask. You just left her in this place, Annie murmurs. Yeah, but it's for her own good. Doesn't mean she won't be angry, Moose, says Annie. Okay, but I don't think she's really mad at me. I'm sure she would be mad at you if you sent me away, Teresa said. You don't understand. We ask an awful lot of our students here, Moose, says Sadie. When you've spent your whole life one way, it's not easy to change. We're proud of how well Natalie is doing with us. She's made a remarkable start. Yes, Annie whispers, she has. She's trying. I hope you see that. Part of what we're striving for, says Sadie, is to give Natalie a way to control herself. Once those blades inside of her start spinning, it's too hard to stop. But why is she mad at me, though? Natalie never gets mad at me. Nat, you never get mad at me. Natalie never gets mad at me, says Natalie, parroting me. Use your words, Natalie. Your words, not what someone else's. I. Moose, Nat dips her chin. Moose, I miss Moose, she says in a voice so low I can hardly hear it. Aww. End of the chapter. May Capone is a looker. This book. Oh my god. Okay, same day. Same exciting, interesting day. August 18th, Sunday. We're almost to the field where Scout plays. Actually, almost to the field where Scout doesn't play. My plan is to see that Scout isn't there, get some roses, and somehow manage to convince Teresa to give them to May without Annie knowing. I try to focus on this and not on Natalie, but Nat words have crawled inside my head. Moose. I miss Moose. What was so disturbing about seeing her today was I suddenly realized how hard she's trying. I thought she didn't try, but it's much more upsetting to realize she tries really hard. She tries hard for whatever seems like such a small result. I forced myself to stop thinking about this. Right now I've got to figure out how to keep Al Capone from hunting me down. Which, by the way, come on, I don't think Al Capone would hunt him down. But he's got this 12-year-old 1930s Alcatraz gangster fear mind thing, I'm just turning my plan around in my head when two girls in white gloves and hats start waving wildly to Annie. Dolores! Peggy! Annie hurries to catch up with them. The girls' heads cluster together like three birds. Is it? Is it him? I have to ask. Annie blushes all the way down to the roots of her yellow moon hair. I look around to see what they're talking about. Teresa skips over to the girls to find out. Annie's still pink face appears. Moose, these are my friends, Dolores and Peggy. I raise my hand in a wooden sort of wave. Dolores and Peggy smile at Annie like they're still in a secret. We better get going, I tell Annie. Have fun, Annie, says Peggy. Yeah, Annie, says Dolores. Now, wouldn't it be nice if Annie decided to go off with them? I can't imagine I'll get Teresa to help me with Annie around. No such luck. Annie stays. How am I going to do this? I could leave roses for May Capone in the visitor section of the boat. But with May Capone on board, won't there be extra officers on the boat? There are always on Visitor's Day. I bet there'll be twice as many when the visitor is Scarface's wife. Trix will be there for certain. He'd never miss this. I can't imagine what would happen if he found the roses. Teresa skips ahead and I walk with Annie. Where do you guys play exactly? Annie asks, looking down the expanse of the Marina Green. On a back street here, a few minutes from here. You know, Moose, I've been thinking. Are you sure Al Capone got her in that school? It doesn't look like a gangland operation to me. Which would look how? I ask. More silk and whiskey, glamorous stuff, you know? No way Capone had anything to do with that place. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't even know if I like the place anyway. I don't like it when they put words in her mouth. You just didn't like what Natalie had to say. The place is good for her, Moose, says Annie. Trust her. Right. Everybody thinks what's best for Natalie. Religion, leafy green vegetables, more discipline, ice compresses, voodoo. I've heard it all. But wait a minute. Annie thinks the Esther P. Maranoff School is the right place for Natalie. Maybe she'll change her mind about telling. So you don't want to wreck it for Natalie, my voice hopes says. It was a mistake is all. That's what I think. I heard my dad talking to my uncle when we drove down to San Mateo yesterday. I was in the rumble seat. They thought I was asleep. My dad said he played chess with Buddy Boy. And when Buddy Boy was in the hospital. Buddy Boy is a convict in the hospital. Buddy Boy is a great chess player, and so is my dad. Guards are not supposed to play chess with the inmates. That I know. They had to be quiet, so they passed notes to let each other know stuff. Done. Your turn. Doesn't sound like the notes you pass in a game. They must have gotten in your laundry by mistake. Maybe, I reply, scratching a hive on my elbow. I would have totally believed it was possible. I haven't received the note about May and the roses. There's no way that about a chess game, but I'm not going to tell Annie that. I'm just relieved she thinks that. Who won? I ask. Buddy won. I think it was all an accident. I look up from where she's been clawing my elbow. So you'll play baseball with me on Alcatraz? You haven't gotten any other notes, have you? I can't lie about this, not to Annie. I look down at the quiet back street. A ragman calls in the distance. A milkman knocks on a door. A cluster of girls play in the street. This is where we play, I announce. Here? Annie is incredulous. I told you he wouldn't be here today. I say, hoping Annie won't notice I didn't answer her question about the notes. If he's not here, we should go find him. Can we, Moose? Can we go find him? There's no time, I tell Teresa. I gotta get back. I promised my mom, and I have to buy flowers. Teresa pulls mouth to one side. But we would have had time to play. That would have taken time. Yeah, but Scout lives really far from here. We don't have time to get him and to play. I'm pleased with how this comes out. It sounds like I know what I'm talking about. You're going to buy flowers? Is it for Piper? Annie asks. I plan to say my mom, but suddenly Piper sounds like a better idea. Mostly because I've never in my life bought my mom flowers. Not that I'd buy them for Piper, but it seems more likely. This lying business is very complicated. Yeah, I say. Oh, Teresa's eyes. It's a good idea, Annie tells me. She's mad at you, you know. Tell me about it. Don't worry, she's mad at the whole world right now. My mom says it's because she's been the apple of her dad's eye, and now all he ever talks about is how much he wants a son. Remember, Piper's mom is pregnant. Piper won't do as well as second fiddle. The corner of Annie's mouth sneak up a little. So where are we going to get flowers? Let's walk down to Union. Probably a flower stand there. We walk 6 blocks and we don't find anything. Annie goes into a butcher shop and asks. The butcher directs us to a small stand no bigger than an outhouse. They have roses, red, yellow, pink. My gut pinches when I see how expensive they are. How can something you just pick cost so much? I don't have enough for a dozen. I buy half a dozen. Is that going to be enough? What color, Annie asks. Yellow, I tell the man behind the counter. I'd go with red. Yellow is friendship. Red is, She was going to say means love. But that's why I want yellow. Carefully, I take my bat, my ball glove out of the bag, and I set the yellow roses inside. I don't want Darby, Trix, or any of the officers to see I'm carrying them. I wonder if Annie will comment about this, but she doesn't say a word. The closer we get to the water, the worse my eyes are itching. Why are you scratching so much? Are you allergic to flowers? That's what Annie says. Hey, look, Teresa points at the dock at Fort Mason where we can catch the boat back to Alphabet. Maybe 50 or 100 people are milling around like ants in a sugar bowl. A man standing on a barrel waves his arm and calls out, May Capone, the wife of public enemy #1. She's right here, folks. Don't miss this. She's going to visit her hubby on the rock. She's quite the beauty, too. Come on, folks. May Capone, right here. Teresa grabbed my arm. Did you hear that? May Capone. Let's go. I'm not thinking about May. I'm thinking about Al. The man is stark raving mad. How am I supposed to give his wife flowers with all these people around? The place is swarming with reporters. They'll probably snap my picture as I give them to her, and then I'll be in the morning papers. That's just what I need. The warden would fire my father in a heartbeat. I can't get Teresa to hand May the roses either. If her picture gets in the papers, she'll be in trouble, same as I would. Didn't Scarface know May would be mobbed like this? A reporter in a gray suit leans towards us. He hands business cards like he's dealing from a dock. You kids leave on Alcatraz? What's the word on Capone? We heard he's got his own furniture up there, oriental rugs, the whole 9 yards. Capone's gonna bust right out of there. You heard it from me, the man on the barrel shouts. A man with a puffy nose waves his big hand. You live on the rock? He shoves a slip of paper at me as the guy smoking cigarettes hurries past. A hot tip's worth cash money to me. The guy with hairy wrists folds my arm around the card. We can't, so the warden won't let us talk to reporters, Annie says to him. She's coming, Teresa shouts. My pulse is growing louder and my heart beat. A man scrambles over the back of another. A large woman picks up a reporter up and moves him out of the way. A guy with hat sizes too small is shooting photos in a mad rush. And another man in a dark suit elbows in front of me. This is crazy. Let's get on the boat. Annie pulls Teresa past the sergeant who checks off his clipboard. We scoot up the ramp and out of the fray. Back onto the boat, settling against the railing, we see the tops of everyone's heads as they rush May Capone. May hides behind her mink wrap, and her leather gloves cover what little her face isn't buried in mink. A hat with a brown veil sits smartly on her short, platinum blonde movie star hair. I can't hardly see her, but one thing is clear. This May Capone is a looker. She's making her way up the gangplank, but it's slow going. How's he doing? His life in danger? What can you tell us, Mrs. Capone? And then from the back of the crowd, Warden Williams appears, flanked by 3 Angel Island Army officers. This is just what I need, the warden. Gentlemen, give the lady some room, please, the warden barks. The people nearest the warden sense the power shift as they take a reluctant step back. What am I supposed to do now? Give May roses in front of the warden? It kind of explains why Piper isn't here, though. She must have known he'd be on the boat. They like the big guy at Alcatraz? They treating him right? One man at the back keeps up. Another officer positions his barrel chest between May and the reporters. A skeleton-thin man throws a fistful of cards at her. Floyd's the name, the examiner. I'll make it worth your while. Talk to me. But the warden's on him now. He picks up the cards and hands them back. These won't be necessary, Mr. Floyd. The warden and the officers have the crowd in hand. A path clears for May Capone, and she heads up the gangplank straight for us. Her cheeks are flushed. Her lips are like bright boysenberries. Her perfume smells of lilac and talcum powder. She's so close I could reach out and touch her soft brown leather glove. I glance down at the warden still at the dock. His back to us as he confers with the Angel Island officers. May's mink brushes past my arm. Excuse me, May says. May says, excuse me. My mouth drops open. All I can think about is giving her the roses, but I can't do it here. Not with the warden right there. What am I, nuts? Teresa jabs her elbow on my side. Me. Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Capone? I stutter. Suddenly occurs to me. If I give roses to every woman in the boat, I won't get in trouble. I grab a rose and I hand it to May as she sweeps past. Here and here. I give another to Annie and Teresa. May smiles at me with a beautiful smile. Why, thank you. Moose, isn't it? She says. And then she's gone. Yellow rose in hand, flanked by the officers and Darby Trixel. Boom. She knows it's Moose. Whoa. It's not like they had phones to text pictures. Teresa's eyes are as big as bundt cakes. Why did you do that? I ignore Teresa as I hurry over to Doc Ollie's sister, who looks exactly like him. She even wears the high-heeled equivalent of sturdy shoes. But I give her a rose and Mrs. Capone and B. Trixel. Why, Moose? B. Trixel's face glows all the way to the mouse-brown roots of her newly blonde hair. Isn't that the sweetest thing? What a nice young man you are, Darby. Darby, see what the nice Flanagan boy gave me? Darby sucks on his bottom lip. A rose, long stem too. A rose, sorry, wrong voice. That's B. Trixel's voice. A rose, long stem too. You know my birthday's coming up. Yes, honey bunch, I know. And Trixel glares at me. They couldn't be that expensive if a 12-year-old boy got one. B tells him as the warden appears. Oh, sorry, wrong voice. I thought it was Darby. They can't be that expensive if a 12-year-old boy got me one, she says as the warden appears, walking across the deck. He surveys the scene. Where did the roses come from? The warden asks Trixel. Flanagan boys, sir. He looks at me hard. It feels like he can see through my skull. What's this business about, Matthew? He asks, using my real name. Nothing, sir. Nothing, is it? Quite the ladies' man you are. Oh, no, sir. That's not what my piper says. I have my eye on you, Flanagan. Got my fingers crossed the next is a boy, so I don't have to worry about the likes of you, Moose Flanagan, with my second child. Ain't nothing like a boy, sir, Trixel agrees. Me and the missus got our hopes on one, too. For 20 years I've been hankering for a son. Then his smiles, his chest full. Then he seems to realize I'm still here. Go on, get out of here, Flanagan. The warden tells me and I begin to walk away, but I hear Trixel. It ain't Moose I worry about. It's his sister. She's not even on the island right now, said the warden. Yeah, but she's coming back. Ain't that right, Moose? Yes, sir, but we keep a close eye on her. She's never been in any trouble, sir. Trixel snorts. She's a loose cannon. It's a crying shame, letting normal kids mix it up with her, a buggy kid. Don't know what some people is thinking with that. Natalie's not buggy, I say. She just thinks in a different way. I know my dad would not like me talking to the warden and Trixel like this. Is that so? Trixel says. Yes, sir. It is. When I get back to Annie and Teresa, they're staring with me, their eyes squinting, their mouths half open. They have clearly been discussing me in my absence. We can't take these, says Annie. They're for Piper, says Teresa. Of course you can. I always meant them to give them to you. I just wanted to surprise you. Surprise us? Annie puts her head sideways. Teresa doesn't believe this. No, really, I say, steadying myself. Smile forms on Annie's lips. Are you sure? Sure, I'm sure, I say. But what about Piper? I don't want to give Piper flowers. That's not what you said. Like I said, I wanted to surprise you. Annie's pale cheeks are flushed. But Moose, Teresa jabs her elbow. May said your name. She couldn't have, I tell them. She did. I heard it with my own ears, says Teresa. I don't know, Teresa, I murmur with one eye on Annie. You don't know? I have to put it in my book, Moose. This is a very strange occurrence, she informs me. I wish she wouldn't, but then most of what she writes is made up anyway. No one will think it's actually true. In the visitors section, I see May Capone holding her yellow rose across her lap. Doc Ollie's old sister with her practical shoes has placed the rose behind her ear. She's becoming like a flamenco dancer. And there's B. Trixel talking to Mrs. Capone, holding the rose as if it were made of glass. It's amazing the power of a few silly flowers. Simply amazing. Wow, Moose did it. All right, I was just looking at it a little bit. All right, I'm going to end it there for just a moment. We're up to page 110. I can't believe Moose did it. Wow, that was tricky. He didn't get a dozen or a half dozen, but he got a yellow rose into May Capone's hand, and she'll be carrying that rose in with her when she goes to visit Al. So Al will see it, and they're even. And then, plot twist, May Capone said, "It's Moose, right?" She knew his name. Could it be because the yellow roses? He would say, somebody's going to give you a yellow rose. More intrigue about Al Capone and Moose. All right. I will read tomorrow, but I'm not going to read Christmas Day. So we'll let more unfold tomorrow. Thanks for joining me.